Alright YouTube, this is Jericho aka Zeroed In, bringing you some midweek tactics this Wednesday. And right off the bat, I'm not using the commando. I killed the guy and took his commando. I'll be using the AK-47 with a suppressor and dual mags. So let's get into some more stealth tactics here. Got quite a bit to talk about in this one. And I'll just go ahead and mention right off the bat that these guys were pretty newbie, and it was kind of a noob stomping match, but there's still things that you can learn from noob stomping matches. And some pretty important things. Right here, I am remaining a little bit low. It's always important to keep a low profile while you're moving in between cover. It decreases the chance of you being shot from a long distance. Also, just makes it harder, even if an enemy clearly sees you. It makes you harder to hit because you're a smaller target. So it's just kind of common sense here. You want to alternate your fire back and forth between cover. So after you've run up to cover, like this nice big rock here, go ahead and if an enemy is firing back at you, alternate the sides at which you shoot. A lot of people seem to think that you're going to come out the same side. They don't expect you to keep running back and forth. Just do that, and usually it'll turn out well for you. At least that's what I found. Just alternate your cover back and forth. And I already have my Blackbird up here. I did have one kill before this match started, so that was 7 right there in a pretty short period of time. This is pretty important. When you get up to entranceways, doorways, that sort of thing, stack up on the edge of the door so that you're facing the door. And as you can see, enemies will pour through, usually not see you. Some people call that camping, but you know, if you walk right up to the door and that's the first thing you do, and then all of a sudden enemies are pouring out, I mean, that's just smart play is what that is. Dumb people run into firefights, and dumb people don't use perfectly good tactics that are available to them. I would never advise camping, and I think in my last video I caught a little bit of heat just for using Ghost Pro, and I'm sure I will in this one too, and I'm sure I will for every video that I ever make. But I gotta be honest with you guys, you know, there's a lot of things in the game. It's always been something in one of these Call of Duties. It's always something that people are bitching about. So don't worry about what people are complaining about. Just do your thing and be good at it. That's all there is to it. Something I mentioned before and I want to mention again, call in your dogs and your chopper gunner at the same time. A lot of people are used to Modern Warfare 2's style of doing things where you only really want to call in one thing at a time. And in Black Ops, your dogs and chopper gunner work together so that when the enemy starts taking cover in buildings and that sort of thing, the dogs will run in there and start taking some of them out. And once some of them start dying and respawning outside, then your chopper gunner can take care of them. That's why it's also important when you're in your chopper gunner to pan around a lot and make sure you find the enemy spawn. Don't just try to pick out one guy over and over. Really look for a cluster of them that keep spawning. And with the dogs, that's pretty much what will happen. So let's talk about Ninja Pro. That's the main focus of this video that I really wanted to point out, is how effective Ninja Pro is. I know a lot of you guys think that footsteps are obsolete or sound whoring is obsolete, and I would agree that sound whoring, I suppose, is obsolete. The idea that you can get really good games by doing nothing but listening for footsteps, and that might be a thing of the past, which I think is probably a step in the right direction. I think it should take more than just a good headset to do well, but it is still a major component of the game. And for those of you who don't think that's true, I would have to ask, first of all, do you have a good headset? If you don't have a good headset, then I'm not sure you can truly evaluate whether or not it's good, because a headset makes all the difference. And if you do have a headset and you still don't necessarily find all that much use in it, I suppose check out your enemies, see if they're all using Ninja. I don't know, is it a real common thing? Because I don't really find it to be. Maybe a lot of you guys are encountering Ninja all the time, but to me, I rarely see Ninja being used. So if you guys want to let me know in a message or a comment below, I really would appreciate it. One big tip I can give that really does improve Ninja Pro that I found is something curious I overheard the other night. Just some kid on Xbox Live was saying, hey, I turned down my sound. Yeah, I can hear people way better. And I thought, well, that's odd that you turn down your sound and you can hear people better. And at first I thought, well, maybe he just means he turned off his music volume or something. Maybe he messed around with the volume settings in the game. But I don't think that's what he meant. Just out of curiosity, I was like, well, I wonder if that works. So I lowered my headset volume significantly, probably to about 25% of what it was before. And this match, I could hear people like none other. I don't know what it was, but granted, I think maybe only one of them was using Ninja Pro, or Ninja, I guess. And so I could hear footsteps better anyways, and I did for the first like maybe I don't know, minute of the game only have one other teammate, and maybe I still have one other teammate. I didn't even really check. I wasn't even paying attention to what my teammate was doing, as I usually don't pay attention to what teammates are doing. And that's part of why this match was so long, was just because I didn't have any real support. There was no one else killing these guys, so I kind of had to go out and do it myself. But that does just go to show you that if you get away from your teammates a little bit, try to turn down your sound, and then any little sound you hear, all of a sudden it'll sound so much clearer to you. You're not distracted by all sorts of other noises. I will say, though, going back to adjusting game volumes and that sort of thing, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but you can actually, with the settings, lower your music volume. I, in fact, turn mine completely off because I think it's, for the most part, useless, and it is rather distracting every time every other time you make a kill, you get that really loud, blaring music letting you know you got some other stupid achievement. I mean, it's really distracting, and it has, in some cases, gotten me killed. So you can do that, and I would advise doing that, especially if you have a headset. If you don't have a headset, get a headset. I don't know what else to tell you guys. That is, in my opinion, the best possible solution to people who struggle with locating enemies. And it really can make all the difference. And as you can see, it helped me out quite a bit in this match. So I would advise you guys to try that. That's probably the biggest tip I have for you in this video. And it seems so counterintuitive. I don't know. It seems like turning your sound down, somehow, how could that help you hear enemies better? My take on it is that after doing it, I think it removes the other distractions. It helps reduce the other distractions, I should say. Teammates firing off rounds and throwing grenades everywhere, and real big loud explosions. And then as you get away from your team, you get closer to the enemy spawn, not directly in it, as I've already talked about, but you're getting closer, and you start hearing a crunch or two, and you're like, oh, those are footsteps, and you immediately know what direction they're coming from. You know where the enemy is. I mean, by the time you hear footsteps, I suppose this is another thing I should mention it. The nice thing about this game with the reduced footstep sound is it makes it clear who you should go after. In Modern Warfare 2, with, what was it, Sitrep Pro? Yeah, Sitrep Pro. You could hear enemies very loudly, but the problem was that you could hear their whole team moving, and they all sounded like elephants galloping at 120 miles an hour. It was deafening sometimes if you were in their spawn, and it actually made them sound like there were so many of them that you didn't even want to go outside. But in this game, if you hear footsteps, they are almost right next to you, or they are very close, which means you should go after that person. And that pretty much wraps out the game. I didn't get to talk about the AK much, but I'll be using it in another video, and that's the final score, 39-2, with very little help from my other team, and made the whole enemy team quit. So please let me know if these tips helped you out. Please leave a comment or send me a message. A big thank you to Pirate Puncher, aka Paul, for hosting my video. I really appreciate that. It got me a lot of views. And also, big mention to Only Use Me Blade. Thank you very much for your comment or your message. I really appreciate it. It helps me keep doing what I'm doing. So I also just want to quickly mention all the other guys who sent me messages real quick. Devin119, Yay Wabbits, Sanders 850, Death Demon 182, KPW 22, Triple IPG, Ryan 7, Dylan 5412, The Picky Connor and Campbell Crazy, thank you all so much. I really appreciate your comments, and if you have any other suggestions for me, please let me know. I plan on doing more shoutouts, so send me those messages. Thanks. Bye.